Bill, we've been talking Louisburg Cider Mill.
That's right.
I hate to admit it, but I had actually never been. My very first trip was for this
Oh,
story.
really? Okay.
And have you ever been out there?
We've gotten, so we stick to a pumpkin patch close to us, but we have had the apple cider and the apple donuts, which are fantastic.
Yeah, that was one thing I quickly learned. You gotta try the apple cider donuts, and here's why. This probably is the biggest tub of flour or cider mix that I've ever seen. So what are we looking at?
This is our cider donut mix, and I'm not going to tell you everything because it's our secret recipe, but we do cider donut mix, we do some spices, and then we add our apple cider in.
I imagine that it is a careful mixture. So
Yes,
we're going
it
to, just ever so gently put some of this in. And we need a better look at that spice as well.
And here's the spice that we put in with the donuts.
So how long have you guys actually been making up these cider donuts?
Since 1977.
Oh my goodness.
We take that mix over here and we mix it right in here.
You want to show us how to do that? Okay. And this is a very special recipe close to your family.
That's
so
right.
You're going to have to walk us through that.
Yeah, my mom came up with it in 1977. We had a lot of excess cider and she was trying to figure out what to do with it, and she came up with cider donuts. We just turn that on and we do this for a couple minutes.
Okay, well, all the batter there looks and smells so good. So this is actually going to get dropped in.
Yes, so this gets dropped into the grease. And this machine actually makes 36 dozen per hour, but during the height of our season, we run our 300 donut per hour machines. One is 200 dozen per hour and one is 100 dozen per hour. And we run it the whole season.
And I want to touch base on this machine. So, you've talked about this, getting the recipe started, getting everything going really back in the 70s.
Right.
Is this very similar to something like your grandfather would have had?
Yes, this is actually just like the original machine we have in 1977. This is kind of a machine from the 50s. And so we've just had to add machines to it because during the fall we can barely keep up. So the good news is when you come in the fall, you're almost guaranteed a hot cider donut.
Okay, and it's cinnamon sugar mixture and just on one side?
Cinnamon sugar just on one side.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna take my first ever bite of an apple cider donut. We gotta check it out. This is just heavenly. It is so good, and I think the cinnamon sugar really just sets it off.
It really does.
Okay, two things quick. I love the apple cider donuts, and now you know what I look like in a hairnet. So there may be actually future generations of donut makers. Alexis and her husband Josh own the mill together, and they have a 4, 7, and 1-year-old. Coming up, we take a look inside at how their apple cider's made. Bill? Welcome back. So some things just go together, like the fall and apple cider. And that's one thing the Louisburg Cider Mill is famous for. But how is the perfect blend actually made? Let's find out. Well, how about them apples? Alexis, really, I have never seen this many apples in my entire life. What are the qualities of the apples behind us?
We're always trying for a sweet and tart blend, so we're getting all different types of apples in order to make our cider.
Okay, and what about this one that I just found out here? What type is it?
That is a Honeycrisp.
Okay, and what would it taste like if you bit into it or drank the apple cider it's going to be made into?
Yeah, Honeycrisp is one of the sweet and tart. We even have a blend where we just have Honeycrisp apple cider.
Well, it smells delicious out here. And this is no new sight for you, right? Because this operation's been going on since you were a baby.
Yeah. My grandpa had the vision in 1977. He saw this barn here and just thought he should make a cider mill. He's from Michigan, so he had cider mills out there, and he just thought it'd be a great local attraction.
And who even knew that years later, decades later, the apples would still be on the conveyor belt?
Absolutely, and just what this has turned into, we do 2 semi-truckloads of apples per day in order to keep up with demand. We wash the apples right here, and then we move them up the conveyor belt to where they go to a grinder, kind of like a cheese grater, and makes it into a real wet mash. And then we press it in the belt press, and we put the juice into the bottling room, and you can watch all of this every day of fall and longer. And we put it in the bottle, and all it is just apple juice from the apples.
Okay, and then you can get a refreshing drink of apple cider. Now, personal fave, do you like to do this hot or cold?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I mean, when it starts to get chilly, I love the hot cider. We put spices in it. But then a favorite of many is the cider slush, which is literally just the cider frozen, nothing added, just apple juice.
It really was something else. I mean, how
It's
did you guys
wonderful.
come up with this
It's
apple
wonderful.
slush?
I know. Actually, it's just kind of evolved over the years. Is just trying to have different products, along with like we had cider. We used to just bottle it 1 jug at a time for customers, and then a cup of apple juice, and then we just started doing the slush as well.
One last thing, how important is it to you that this lives on, you know, right outside of Kansas City? You obviously grew up out here. It's a huge part of your family history.
Yeah, it is. We're kind of 2nd and 3rd generation now. So a lot of parents are bringing their kids, and they came as kids. So it's really cool. We hope it's here for years and years to come.
Well, they make cider for about 6 months of the year, but the country store and mill is open all year long. In the off months, they make soda, lemonade, and other drinks. Coming up, we tour the family farm.
10 years ago, the Heberts opened up the family farm.
Yep, it's a place that kids and adults can get outside and really enjoy fall. So let's take a look at what's jumping on the outer edge of the cider mill. Josh, I've got one important question for you. How far can you jump?
Oh, today probably about 7 feet, I would guess.
7 feet?
Yeah, sure.
Oh
Maybe
my
9.
gosh, we've got Michael Jordan over here. You know, how many people are hanging out here just on the daily basis, and why did you guys decide to incorporate these fun things for people visiting?
Well, the cider mill has always been a place where people can bring their families and come and enjoy, whether it's donuts or cider. And probably about 15 years ago, we started inviting people out to the other acreage that we had on our farm, and we started planting pumpkins and having a corn maze and just kind of extending the opportunity for moms and dads to bring kids out and come and just have a great time outside.
And what about that jump pillow? I bet a lot of kiddos having fun there.
The jump hill is really fun, not only the kids, but the adults too. It's really, it is really a lot of fun.
I hear you on that. And I hear there's a place that we can swim through the corn.
Yeah, the corn crib, which is right over there, is also something we added probably 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been surprising how much people love playing in the corn. It really is a lot of fun.
And corn is not the only thing growing out here. We are looking at so many pumpkins, just an entire field. And I just learned you're supposed to pick it up from the bottom.
That's right. You have to be careful with how you handle the pumpkin because you could lose the stem if you grab it the wrong way.
Okay, and do you have any tips for people who may be picking theirs or looking for the best pumpkin?
Well, number one, you just want to make sure that you get the size of pumpkin that you really want. If you're going to have it on your front porch or if you're going to have it somewhere decorated in your house, you want to get the one that's suited for you. So usually you go out and you find something that just is the perfect match for you.
Okay, and then after people pick out their pumpkin, there's some tire swings and some other fun to be had right here at the Louisburg Cider Mill.
Yeah, there is. Right behind us, there's swing sets, there's a huge hill slide, there's a trail where you can go hiking through the orchard that we have out here back towards the old historical farmhouse, which is on the far north side of our property. And so there's just a great large area here where you can just relax and really enjoy just being outside. Our corn maze this year is actually the Lost Trail Corn Maze. The Lost Trail Corn Maze is probably one of the hardest mazes we've ever cut. It's really a ton of fun.
Well, the Heberts tell us that they actually planted trees, and in about 5 years, people will be able to go there and pick apples, and that's just going to add to the experience.
How much fun is that? It just looks like it's just a great fall thing to do, to get out with the kids. You're not inside watching TV and stuff. You get out and just have a great time, right?